निकुंज जुनारति केली सिद्धई जा जाली भी जुक्तिरपेक्षणीया निकुंज जुनारति केली सिद्धई जा जाली भी जुक्तिरपेक्षणीया तत्रातिदाक्षादति बलवशं वन्दे तुलसी चरणरविन्दं वन्दे तुलसी चरणरविन्दं वन्दे तुलसी चरणरविन्दं वन्दे तुलसी चरणरविन्दं धनाघनतं तप्तकल्लन गुणान्नभश वन्दे गुरश्रीचरणरविन्दं वन्दे गुरश्रीचरणरविन्दं वन्दे गुरश्रीचरणरविन्दम् Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to the members of the Prabhupada Disciples Association, who assemble on a weekly basis to participate in our Sangha, the regular study of Prabhupada's books. And they are the books that Prabhupada originally sanctioned to be published and distributed back in the 70s. Nowadays, things have changed so much. It's really hard to see what the philosophy that he presented really is, because it's been adulterated and edited by a few of our godbrothers, unfortunately, and this has disturbed the whole parampara. Yes. I wanted to read this quote. What a tangled web we conceive when we choose to deceive. So this web of deception by them has created so much confusion, Vijay Pandit, in Italy, very much. And it's interesting to note that we have an active social media platform that we operate, very active actually. And some people are not aware of that. They ask us, well, what do you do anyway with your time? Well, we have multiple projects that our group are undertaking to protect Prabhupada's legacy. Yes, we do have quite a few projects, and one of them is social media, which is a tool for propagating truth. I don't know if you realize this, but on our PDA Facebook page, over the last couple of years, we have over 2 million views of our points of view, which is to protect 2 million. That's not 200 or 20,000. It's a lot. And what does that show? It shows that people are interested in the truth of this ISKCON group. And this week, and right now, actually, even this morning, I commented to a Bhakteen. I'm not sure who she is, but she says, I'll never leave ISKCON. That was Prabhupada's order. Well, what does that mean? Well, that means this, that the ISKCON group should be following Prabhupada's order without any change. Because once you change everything in the ISKCON group according to your whimsical behavior, it's like the Gaudiya Math Part 2. The Gaudiya Math, Prabhupada was a member of the Gaudiya Math, if you recall. And what happened was, after the disappearance of His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada, what happened? Well, his disciples decided to divide up the assets and set up their own particular cults, let's say. Their own. Remember, cult means people with a certain set of beliefs. That's what it's not a pejorative term, like some people think. A cult is not a pejorative term, but people think because of Jim Jones and other unfortunate situations that have evolved, the media has adapted that word as negative, as a brainwashing thing. But anyway, getting back to the point, is the mission of the Gaudiya Math was disturbed by these so-called leaders back then. And Prabhupada said, due to whimsical behavior, that great mission was lost. And this is what's happened in ISKCON nowadays in 2024. That it has been lost, Vijaya Pandit. It is not the ISKCON that we knew, that we would never leave back in 1975. Never leave. Why would we? Because let's look at what is the definition of a corporation. Well, a corporation is a legal entity that's used to function, it's a tool to function in the particular country that you're in. So like, for example, here in Canada, if you don't have a corporation, or better in America, if you don't have a corporation that's registered with the government, you can't operate. And we're reading right now in the diaries that Prabhupada is moving forward to open up this corporation because it's starting to expand by his preaching work. Yes. So it's a legal entity. ISKCON is a legal entity. But what is the real meaning of ISKCON, Mother Rochisha? I'll tell you what it is. Sorry for asking a question and giving the answer. It is a society that's based on focusing on the process of devotional service, chanting your rounds, offering your food to Krishna through the bona fide spiritual master. It is following the regulated principles. It is associating with like-minded devotees. There are many facets to the Krishna consciousness movement. And a part of it is this concept of ISKCON, the corporation. Yes. So within that network, all the money can go into that bank account that corporation can set up. But is it really just a corporation? No. Krishna consciousness, ISKCON, Vijaya Pandit, understand this clearly. ISKCON means focus on the principles of Krishna consciousness and bhakti yoga, which is founded on the principle of Guru Tattva. Yes. Unless there is proper understanding of Guru Tattva, the spirit, bona fide spiritual master, there is no ISKCON. It's gone. How about that? ISKCON is gone. It's not there. So this lady, Mother Mataji, she seems very nice online. She's saying, I'll never leave ISKCON. Oh, well, you'll never leave ISKCON. Well, yes, don't leave ISKCON. But you cannot stay in a movement that has forgotten who the spiritual master is. That is not ISKCON. That is a mistake. Our movement, the Prabhupada Disciples Association and Hare Krishna Society, is ISKCON. Yes, it is. We don't use that name because there's a legal aspect in the material world to those names, but the principle of ISKCON, we are practicing it. And if you don't want to associate with these so-called leaders that are debauchees, that's what they are. How many people have seen we have seen hundreds and hundreds of deviations against the principles of Krishna consciousness in these so-called leaders, who are supposed to be Uttama-adhikaris. They're not. Bhaktivedanta, is he an Uttama-adhikari? How about Rameshwar? Who's in Mayapur now, in a compromised world with this current corporation called ISKCON. He is not a proper representative of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, especially His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda. When they put in Washington that Prabhupada was a worker for hire. Worker for hire. This is the direct understanding of why we're not part of the so-called corporation, ISKCON. That's the point. This is a philosophical understanding that we want everyone to see without confusion. What a tangled web we conceive when we choose to deceive. This web of deception has affected millions of people. Can you imagine? Who would have thought that this cancer would spread like this? And it has. Look at in India, one guru there, one of our God brothers, who hasn't chanted his rounds in 40 years, he can't even chant now, has 75,000 disciples, maybe more. Other so-called gurus are opening hospitals. They're thinking, oh, I'll open a hospital and this will be a great service. And other people, they're doing food distribution. That's fine. I mean, you're feeding people. It's a pious act. But is it based on how Prabhupada taught us to run a society of devotees? No. And there's so many quotes to support this. And we have them. We're thinking of this, just so all of you know. This is an idea for us. We're going to set up a panel of Prabhupada disciples. Doesn't have to be, original disciples, let's say, or first wave. As Malati told me, I'm part of the first wave. I said, who are you? I met her in Vrindavan, in New Vrindavan. She came up to me. She was asking me questions after I gave the Bhagavatam class back some years ago. I said, by the way, who are you? She goes, oh, I'm part of the first wave. Oh, really? What does that mean? Oh, you're the best and we're the worst because we're the second wave? Well, I'll wave too. Goodbye. So anyway, the point is this, that we're going to set up a panel of Prabhupada disciples, first, second, third, fourth wave, whatever they are. And we want to interview each one of these gurus and test them. if they understand this philosophy, if they're practicing this philosophy, and they're representing the instructions of Srila Prabhupada properly to their so-called followers. Let's see what they say. Are you prepared to go under scrutiny with Prabhupada, your God brothers? We have a right. We have a right to speak. Oh, no, you don't. We're going to banish you. Oh, thank you. Do me a favor. Thank you very much. Do me a favor. I don't want to be part of this so-called Sankirtan movement of Sahajiyas. That's what it is. And millions of people have been deceived. What a tangled web we conceive when we choose to deceive. This is very complicated now, extremely. Hospitals, so-called hospices, so-called schools. And I just saw, they have some kind of course that they're staging in Washington, D.C. for that temple there. It's for women. It doesn't mention anything about Prabhupada. It doesn't mention anything about the philosophy. It's just some kind of concoction. That's the kind of ISKCON that we wanted to join? No, it's not. We are done. Done like dinner. We're not interested. Why? Because this has become Gaudiya Mat Part 2. And was Prabhupada, Mother Rochisha, was Prabhupada maintaining his relationship with the Gaudiya Mat after he came to America? Well, he was reaching out to them, writing letters and communicating with them, yes. But he started his own group. Yes, he did. And he was much happier when he didn't have to deal with them, and he was dealing with his disciples. They called us the dancing white elephants. That was the nickname. Different, very different. And this is what this is about. We have changed the direction of our membership away from ISKCON into this process that we're going through. And I wanted to mention that we are also looking forward to having people join us to become initiated disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Yes. Through the process, the proper process of a ritvik ceremony. Yeah, where just like when I was temple president, I did many fire sacrifices on behalf of Prabhupada in Toronto. Yes, we did many fire sacrifices and initiated so many disciples of Srila Prabhupada under his direction, and they became his disciples, not my disciples. This is the misunderstanding and this deception and misinformation campaign, which has been very, it's because ISKCON is not unified. It becomes, according to the whims of each individual guru. So-called guru. They just make things up, concoct them. Like one of these gurus in Silicon Valley, he goes, when you go on Sankirtan, you become a Madhyamadikari. I goes, whoa, just automatically. You learned how to sell books and now you become Madhyamadikari? What kind of mental concoction is that? What kind of mental speculation? And when you hear him speak, he's quoting verses very astutely, but the explanations don't match the verses. He concocts the philosophy and misleads people and provides misinformation for other people. In this way, that movement has, as I said many times before, everyone, has left the harbor. It's sailed out to sea, in the sea of Maya. And we want to know people to know that ISKCON is still living, but it is not living in the corporate shell of that so-called group of cults that is being operated now. Be smart. Don't be stupid and fall for these traps of using these slokas or verses to say, I will never leave ISKCON. We have not left ISKCON. This ISKCON movement is no longer the movement that was planned and directed by Srila Prabhupada. It is gone. So that's something to think about. We'll move forward now with the reading of the diaries of Srila Prabhupada. Let me get my diary here. Rupesh, can you show the letter first? That the diary on the internet is just of the days. There's some other details in the written diary. So I sent Rupesh over the letter. Yeah, this is the letter from this India Steam Navigation Company, which I have a real affinity, attraction for since I met Sumati Mararji myself and was interviewed by her in Bombay. And while Prabhupada was, of course, in Bombay, we were there to celebrate the purchase of the Bombay property for the building of the mandir there. So back then there was no facility really, but we were all brahmacharis and able to sort of handle the austerity back then, young men. So here he had been requesting her to provide passage for Paul Murray, was a new, aspiring member of Prabhupada's group, one of the first. And here is her response. Respected Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami, I am directed by Sumati Mararji to acknowledge receipt of your letter dated 27/4/66. She is very much pleased to know your activities in New York. As regards passage to India, she regrets it will not be possible for her to accede to your request to issue passage in favor of the boy to whom you propose to bring to India. Free passage will be issued in your favor only. With pranams, I am Chokshi. So you can see that that was actually a blessing from her to him, because as it turns out, this fellow was not qualified to come. But Prabhupada was pushing forward as best he could. Tuesday, May 10th. He's going to have to get the online version of the diaries. Here we come. Here we are. That's 12th. Let's go to the 10th, my friend, Prabhu. The 10th. One more. Yeah, thank you. Sunrise 4:30 or 4:50, sunset 7:03, moonrise 10:14. Shasti, today also did not go out. 2 letters received from Robert Nelson, who tried Harper Row for publication, received back the old passbook transferred to Grand Street 10, 107.87. Oh, he had money in the bank. Paul paid dollar for expenditures, so he's paying Paul. 2 letters written, one to Brindavan and the other to Captain Pandya, both Brindavan and Captain Pandya, written about Kola, cartel, and harmonium. And we'll go to May 11th, 1966. Okay, Prabhupada's giving the time of sunrise, 4:49, sunset, 7:04, moonrise, 54, Saptami. Paul was paid for expenditure, $2. Paragon people, hopeless. They cannot sell books. So some arrangement has to be done. One letter received from Chandrasekhar, bus fare was 30 cents. 2 sets of books taken by 2 gentlemen. They will pay by installment. One of them paid $5. So Prabhupada's doing accounts receivable. In the evening, there was a meeting discussed with Carl about LSD. He is convinced about my arguments that there is no necessity for it for spiritual realization. There were 9 or 10 ladies, gentlemen, attending today's meeting. The contribution was $8. I saw the Bowery branch of the First City National Bank. They have transferred the amount from 72nd branch deposited today, $15. Income was $13. Expenditures was $17.30, and 2 letters were posted through Paul. On Thursday, May 12th, the sunrise was 4:48. Sunset was 7:05, and moonrise was 1:26. Ashami today are inquired about registration of the League of Devotees. It is understood the expenditure will be about $300, including lawyers of $200. Okay. And I paid Paul for expenditures $6, deposited in the bank book accounts $10, bus fare 75 cents, and the total expenditure was $16.75. On Friday, May 13th, 1966, the sunrise was 4:47, sunset was 7:06, moonrise was 1:54. Navami paid to Paul for expenditure for his living expense. There was a meeting in the evening. The attendance was poor. Contribution received $4. So see the pace. Prabhupada keeps preaching. Sometimes people come, sometimes people don't. Saturday, May 14th, sunrise 4:46, sunset 7:07, moonrise 2:18. Dashami, Paul was paid for expenditure $1. There was a meeting at noon, Sanskrit class, contribution was $4. I went to the Ananda ashram, there was kirtan in the evening, so Prabhupada was traveling up to Mishra's ashram outside of New York City and leading kirtan. 4 letters by airmail posted, Chandrasekhar, Surya Kumar, Agent Punjab, National Bank, Brindavan, Atmarama, and Sons Booksellers. Sunday, May 15th, sunrise 4:45, sunset 7:08. Moonrise, Ekadasi. The whole day I was in Ananda Ashram. I came back at 5 p.m. Yolanda brought me back by her car. She has promised to come here on Wednesday next. So see how Prabhupada's, working with different people. And this lady is driving him in her car. He's totally transcendental in associating in this situation without any concern because his mission was his focus. Monday, May 16th, sunrise 4:44 a.m., sunset 7:09, moonrise 3:11, Dwadasi. Today, pay Paul for expenditures $3.30. Received 1 letter for Munga Niloy, Brahmachari. Oh yeah, him. He's trying to get him to come over. Very encouraging. He wants to help me in my mission. I've replied and assured him to get him here, provided he works here submissively. Submissively. You need cooperation. Eventually, the whole thing collapsed, Vijay Pandit. It did not work out. But we'll find out as we keep reading. In the evening, there was a meeting. 10 ladies, gentlemen attended. Contribution was $7.55. Postage was $2.10. Bus fare was 30 cents. It was $2.40, $3.50, $5.90. So different numbers. Prabhupada's keeping track very carefully of Lakshmi Devi, not wasting hundreds of millions of dollars that has been done to this date by various people who call themselves ISKCON leaders. Tuesday, May 17th, sunrise 4:43 a.m., sunset 7:10 p.m., moonrise 3:24. Tri-Odyssey. Today I've paid Paul for expenditure $1. He doesn't miss his payment. Amazing. Wednesday, 18th of May, sunrise 4:43, sunset 7:10, moonrise 3:47. Chaturdasi. Today I paid Paul for expenditure $1.25. In the evening, there was a meeting. 12 ladies and a gentleman attended, and the contribution was $7. One letter received from Atma Singh, Bombay. On Thursday, May 19th, sunrise 4:42, sunset 7:11, moonrise 4:14. Amavasya, Paul paid $2 for expenditures. Today, one letter received from Mr. Paul C. Sherbert, and he is replied also. So there's the pace. Look at the overall perspective, Prabhus. Do a methodical review of it in your minds, how Prabhupada was working, and this is the example of the pure devotee. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, back in the 60s, how he created the ISKCON movement. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Let's move forward with the chanting of Jaya Radha Madhava, led by Srila Prabhupada, and then our class, Bhagavad-gītā As It Is, from the 1972 edition, with His Grace Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu. All glories to the Sankirtan mission.
Sai. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Samad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda ki jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai, Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivas Adi Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Sri Radha Krishna Gaur Gopinath Sam Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan ki jai, Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Navadvip Dham ki jai, Swami Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Ganga Mai ki jai, Jamuna Mai ki jai, Tulasi Devi ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Swami Bhaktivinoda ki jai. All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to the assembled Lord. Thank you very much.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord, Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Narayanam namaskritya. Narayanam namaskritya. Naram cheva narottamam. Naram cheva narottamam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet. Tato Jayam Mudirayet. Can't see, it's too small the way you have there. One should utter the means of conquest, Srimad Bhagavatam and Srimad Bhagavad-gītā, after offering respectful obeisances, 1, to the personality of Godhead Narayana, 2, to the Nara-Narayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being, 3, to the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, then 4, to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on Srimad Bhagavad-gītā. As we do every week, we will be reciting a few Sanskrit verses that were introduced by Srila Prabhupada himself in 1966 in New York when he started his series of classes on the Bhagavad-gītā. Om Ajnana-timirandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamakyam Dadati Svapadantikam. When will Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who has established within this material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet? Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahaguna Ragunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master and unto the feet of all Vaishnavas. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Sri Rupa Goswami, along with his elder brother Sanatana Goswami, as well as Raghunath Dasa and Raghunath Bhatta, Gopala Bhatta, and Srila Jiva Goswami. I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, along with Advaita-Acharya, Gadadhar, Srivas, and other associates. I offer my respectful obeisances to Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna, along with their associates, Sri Lalita and Vishaka. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Oh, my dear Krishna, you are the friend of the distressed and the source of creation. You are the master of the gopis and the lover of Radharani. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Taptakanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye. I offer my respects to Radharani, whose bodily complexion is like molten gold, and who is the queen of Vrindavana. You are the daughter of King Vrishabhanu, and you are very dear to Lord Krishna. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We are proceeding with the reading. It should be noted that this reading is being conducted on a basis of the original, non-interpolated, non-adulterated 1972 Macmillan edition. Today we will be reading from Bhagavad-gītā chapter 11, text number 52. All synonyms, translations, and purports by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, Founder-Ācārya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. Sri Bhagavanu Vacha Tudurdarsham idam rupam drishtavanasiyan mama devapyasya rupasya nityam darshana kankshinaha. Sri Bhagavanu Vacha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Sudurdarshana, very difficult to be seen. Idam, this. Rupam, form. Drishtavanasi, as you have seen. Yat, which. Mama, of mine. Deva, the demigods. Apyasya, also this. Rupasya, of the form. Nityam, eternally. Darshana kankshinaha, always aspire to see. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. The Blessed Lord said, my dear Arjuna, the form which you're now seeing is very difficult to behold. even the demigods are ever seeking the opportunity to see this form, which is so dear. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In the 48th verse of this chapter, Lord Krishna concluded revealing his universal form and informed Arjuna that this form is not possible to be seen by so many activities, sacrifices, etc. Now, here the word Sudurdarsham is used, indicating that Krishna's two-handed form is still more confidential. One may be able to see the universal form of Krishna by adding a little tinge of devotional service to various activities like penance, Vedic study, and philosophical speculation, etc. It may be possible, but without a tinge of bhakti, one cannot see. That has already been explained. Still, beyond that universal form, the form of Krishna as a two-handed man is still more difficult to see, even for demigods like Brahma and Lord Shiva. They desire to see him, and we have evidences in the Srimad Bhagavatam that when he was supposed to be in the womb of his mother, Devaki, all the demigods from heaven came to see the marvel of Krishna. They even waited to see him. A foolish person may deride him, but that is an ordinary person. Krishna is actually desired to be seen by demigods like Brahma and Shiva in his two-handed form. In Bhagavad-gītā, it is also confirmed that he is not visible to the foolish person who deride him. Krishna's body, as confirmed by Brahma Samhita and confirmed by himself in Bhagavad-gītā, is completely spiritual and full of bliss and eternality. His body is never like a material body. But for some who make a study of Krishna by reading Bhagavad-gītā or similar Vedic scriptures, Krishna is a problem. For one using a material process, Krishna is considered to be a great historical personality and very learned philosopher, but he is not an ordinary man. But some think that even though he was so powerful, he had to accept a material body. Ultimately, they think that the absolute truth is impersonal. Therefore, they think that from his impersonal feature, he assumed a personal feature attached to material nature. This is a materialistic calculation of the Supreme Lord. Another calculation is speculative. Those who are in search of knowledge also speculate on Krishna and consider him to be less important than the universal form of the Supreme. Thus, some think that the universal form of Krishna, which was manifested to Arjuna, is more important than his personal form. According to them, the personal form of the Supreme is something imaginary. They believe that in the ultimate issue, the absolute truth is not a person. But the transcendental process is described in Bhagavad-gītā, chapter 2. To hear about Krishna from authorities, that is the actual Vedic process. And those who are actually in the Vedic line hear about Krishna from authority. And by repeated hearing about him, Krishna becomes dear. As we have several times discussed, Krishna is covered by his Yogamaya potency. He is not to be seen or revealed to anyone and everyone. Only by one to whom he reveals himself can be seen. This is confirmed in Vedic literature. For one who is a surrendered soul, the absolute truth can actually be understood. The transcendentalist, by continuous Krishna consciousness and by devotional service to Krishna, can have his spiritual eyes open and can see Krishna by revelation. Such a revelation is not possible even for the demigods. Therefore, it is difficult even for the demigods to understand Krishna. And the advanced demigods are always in hope of seeing Krishna in his two-handed form. The conclusion is that although to see the universal form of Krishna is very, very difficult and not possible for anyone and everyone, it is still more difficult to understand his personal form as Shyama Sundar. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Miritam Yena Tasmai Shigurave Namaham Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhaktivedanta Namine Prasannaya Prashantaya Tasmai Shugurave Namaha Bhagavad-vandanam Khadyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Kadatehi Visheshataham Adadana Strinam Danter Idam Yachi Punaha Punaha Srimad Rupa Padam Bhojadhulishyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavatosmyaham Sadadaso Asmi Sarvata Tatkripa Pikshako Nityam Tatprishta Satkaromismam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. In the Bhagavad-gītā, chapter 7, text number 3, Krishna describes Manushyanam Sahasreshu Kaschid Yatati Siddhaye Yatatam Api Siddhanam Kaschin Mam Viti Tattvataha. Out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection, and of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. It's interesting how Srila Prabhupada explains in a purport in the first paragraph, the yogis and jnanis are confused in their attempts to understand Krishna. Although the greatest of the impersonalists, Sripada Shankaracharya, has admitted in his Gita commentary that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But his followers do not accept Krishna as such, for it is very difficult to know Krishna, even though one has transcendental realization of impersonal Brahman. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the cause of all causes, the primeval Lord Govinda, Ishvaraha Paramakrishnaha, Sachidananda Vigraha, Anadiradir Govinda, Sarva Karana Karanam. It is very difficult for the non-devotees to know him. Actually, non-devotees declare, although non-devotees declare that the path of bhakti or devotional service is very easy, they cannot practice it. If the path of bhakti is so easy, as the non-devotee class of men proclaim, then why do they take up the difficult path? Actually, the path of bhakti is not easy. The so-called path of bhakti practiced by unauthorized persons without knowledge of bhakti may be easy. But when it is practiced factually, according to the rules and regulations, the speculative scholars and philosophers fall away from the path. Srila Rupa Goswami writes in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Shruti Smriti Puranadi Pancharatra Didimbina Ekantiki Harer Bhaktirut Patayeva Kalpate. Devotional service of the Lord that ignores the authorized Vedic literatures like the Upanishads, Puranas, Narada Pancharatra, etc., is simply an unnecessary disturbance in society. So what is important to note here, Prabhupada is clearly defining what is bhakti, what is the proper process of bhakti. It has to be done according to the instruction of the Shastra and the Acharyas. We had experienced one time in South India, during one of the preaching trips there, we met some followers of Shankaracharya with their big tilak, their big vibhuti. So we asked them, so your leader, Adi Shankaracharya, has stated, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam Mudhamate, Samprapte Sanite Kale, Nahi Nahi Rakshati Dukrin Karane, that you should worship Govinda. Do not spend so much time studying your grammatical Sanskrit combinations. That will not help you at the time of death. So we asked him, if you're going to worship Govinda according to the instruction of your leader, you cannot be wearing this kind of tilak. You have to wear this Urdhva Pundra, the Vaishnava tilak. He was speechless. Nobody would dare to tell him that. But we told him, you should change your tilak, put the Vaishnava tilak, then you'll be able to worship Govinda. Then it will be effective. Because we see in the material world, yet everybody is busy trying to promote their understanding, their ideas, their opinions. Prabhupada, in one conversation, everybody has an opinion. That we know. But not everybody has got the knowledge. To receive the transcendental knowledge, one has to hear submissively from the bona fide, realized, transcendental Acharya. Acharyavan Purusho Veda. This is the instruction of the Chandogya Upanishad. It is described, Yasmin Vigyati Sarvam Evam Bhavati. That if one understands Krishna, he will know everything. But how to understand Krishna? We see Srila Prabhupada has given so many detailed, precise explanations of the position and nature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. And he has given so many instructions what to do and what not to do. But it's up to us who are aspiring for spiritual realization, aspiring for spiritual advancement, to follow those instructions. Otherwise, one will be bewildered. Because we see that some people say, oh, you should not criticize. No. That is not the correct understanding. Srila Prabhupada in one lecture says, our business is to point out who is not a saint, in order to distinguish the bona fide parampara from the pretenders and the so-called parampara. From the Apa Sampradayas, we have to establish what is a saint and what is not a saint. Those who are sahajiyas, imitators, self-appointed acharyas, voted in acharyas, elected acharyas, and so many other nonsensical pseudo-Vaishnavas, those are not saints. These are pretenders. Prabhupada has warned about this in his Bhagavad-gītā. How many times do we have to read this to make things very clear? This is not, we are not interested in mindless, stupid, envious criticism. No. We are interested in intelligent Vaishnava discussion on a basis of fact. In the Bhagavad-gītā itself, chapter 4, text 42, Prabhupada has warned, page 268. A bona fide spiritual master is in a disciplic succession from time eternal. It does not deviate at all from the instructions of the Supreme Lord, as they were imparted millions of years ago to the Sun God, from whom the instructions of Bhagavad-gītā have come down to the earthly kingdom. This is from Bhagavad-gītā, chapter 4, text 42, last paragraph. One should therefore follow the path of Bhagavad-gītā as it is expressed in the Gita itself, and beware of self-interested people after personal aggrandizement who deviate others from the actual path. The Lord is definitely the Supreme Person, and his activities are transcendental. One who understands this is a liberated person from the very beginning of his study of the Gita. Now, somebody may say, well, why are you reading this? You've already discussed that before in some other class, because it is not clear to some people. We have to be very clear about this. Just like this week, I had some very interesting discussion with Neil Shyama Prabhu in Florida. He was bringing so many points. And I was mentioning to him, we have to discuss Prabhupada's teachings from the platform of what is authorized and what is not authorized, what is bona fide and what is not bona fide, what is correct and what is incorrect, what follows the parampara and what does not follow the parampara. Because it is obvious that some people do not get it. They don't understand. They're reading. Prabhupada talks, for example, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita about sahajiyas who concoct different mantras. And even after reading this, some people still do not understand. Do not concoct Buddhist mantras. Do not sing or recite unauthorized songs and unauthorized mantras. We turn this off here. But still, even after hearing from the pure devotee, some people still don't follow. Some people don't read properly. They're not hearing. They're not hearing. What is the warning of Sri Upanishad? Iti shusramadiranam. One should hear submissively from the bona fide acharya, dhira, the self-realized person who is not disturbed by the whirlpool of the material energy. This is very essential. Otherwise, one may go to so many different advisors and be bewildered by so much propaganda. One of such advisors was very notorious for stating that Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktivedanta Swami, just taught the basic fundamentals, and we are teaching the higher knowledge. Complete rascaldom. Faithless nonsense. Anybody who says this means that they have not read or studied Srila Prabhupada's writings, Prabhupada's books. They think they know better than the Acharya. They think they know better than the empowered Shakti-Vish avatar who spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. Their foolishness is completely in display. One should not be misled by such pretenders, regardless of their claim that they were friends with Prabhupada, that Prabhupada wrote them so many letters. But what did you do for Prabhupada? What did you do to help Srila Prabhupada's mission? What did you do to make the mission of Lord Chaitanya to go further? That is the real question. That is the real test, to whom it may concern. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you very much from our side. We very much appreciated that. And the point was well taken that some members of the Gaudiya Math, after Prabhupada's departure, took advantage of the opportunity to, because of the confusion in the ISKCON group, come in and scoop their the disciples of Srila Prabhupada and make them their disciples. And that was the case of Narayan Maharaj, who I had met in 1974 in Navadvip. Actually had a chance to associate with him. It was quite nice. But it's true that he did say that Prabhupada never really presented the highest principles of bhakti yoga to his disciples. That's not true. That's actually misleading. Because if you do study the books, Prabhu's, you will find out that everything that's necessary for going back to Godhead in the Krishna conscious mission is there. Yes, everything. There's nothing been left out. Because Krishna is speaking through Prabhupada. Prabhupada is the via transparent medium to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And this is a great opportunity for us to associate with Krishna through the disciplic succession, the bona fide disciplic succession. And I wanted to go again, Prabhu's, back to the Gita, text 75. I thought it was still relevant today. I know some of you didn't get a chance to attend some of the classes the last few weeks for scheduling probably purposes. But I wanted to bring this up. Text 75, Bhagavad-gītā, chapter 18, Rupesh. By the mercy of Vyasa, I have heard these most confidential talks directly from the master of all mysticism, Krishna, who is speaking personally to Arjuna. And we'll go down to the second paragraph in the purport. We're just going to, because we did read the whole purport last time. Narada is the direct disciple of Krishna and the spiritual master of Vyasa. Therefore, Vyasa is as bona fide as Arjuna because he comes in the disciplic succession. And Sanjaya is the direct disciple of Vyasa. Therefore, by the grace of Vyasa, his senses were purified and he could see and hear Krishna directly. One who directly hears Krishna can understand this confidential knowledge. If one does not come to the disciplic succession, here's the key. He cannot hear Krishna. Therefore, his knowledge is always imperfect, at least as far as understanding Bhagavad-gītā is concerned. So, hearing Krishna is hearing through Srila Prabhupada only. This is the position of disciple. Disciple is completely focused on his guru. Some of my godbrothers had switched. There was one devotee from Toronto. His name was Hiranyagarbha. And Hiranyagarbha, he became Jagadananda, I think, in Mayapur. He took initiation. He reinitiated himself. Of course, I asked him personally. I knew him quite well. We went on Sankirtan for 1,000 hours on Yonge Street. And then he went off to India. He was teaching in the Gurukula. And then he had the experience of having to deal with Bhavananda. And he could see through the hypocrisy of this person who was homosexual, actually, and practicing homosexual activities there in Mayapur. So he lost faith. He did, and especially in the GBC and these people that were running Mayapur. So instead of staying on, he reinitiated himself as a disciple of Lalit Prasad Thakur, who was, I believe, the son of Bhaktivedanta Thakur. So he thought that this would be a way that he could find his way back to home, back to Godhead. This was a mistake. Because to become situated in that position and reject Srila Prabhupada is a great offense. He already had the ticket back home, back to Godhead, but he rejected it due to problems that he was encountering himself personally with the people he was around in the ISKCON group that were so-called leaders, bona fide leaders. So this principle of disciplic succession, bona fide spiritual master, the understanding is the key, everyone, to understanding this philosophy. It is the key. There is no other way. There is no other way. It is only this way. Now, people say, oh, how can you say that? Well, because these are the facts of this philosophy. He who says he is my devotee is not my devotee. But Krishna says, he who is the devotee of my devotee, he is my devotee. And who is the bona fide spiritual master? By his performance, by his actions, by his publications, by his opening of temples, by spreading Krishna consciousness all over the world. It is His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda. He is the representative of Srila Bhakti, His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada. He is the representative, no one else. The bona fide representative. And I'll finish up. I was in Mayapur in 1975. We were on the wall that Yaśodā-nanda and his party had contributed to building, the money. Actually, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu and his group had contributed many hundreds of thousands of dollars to the Mayapur project and to the building of the Krishna Balaram Mandir, just so all of you know. At any rate, Krishna Das Babaji Maharaj, who was a disciple of His Divine Grace, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada, he came to our room on the wall and we chanted for a few hours with him. He was one of the leading kirtan members of the Gaudiya Math, revered as such. And after the kirtan, after we chanted for a couple of hours, and Hiranyagarbha was there, Jagadananda, Uddama Shloka, myself, a group of us. I wish I could remember all the people in the room, but I don't. I think we had about 10 people there, and we had a very, serious kirtan. It was wonderful. And he chanted different bhajan. And at the end, it's recorded, so I think Uddama Shloka still has the recording of it. I spoke to Krishna Das Babaji, and I said to him on the tape, I said, we thanked him for coming, and then we said, Srila Prabhupada Maharaj has spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. And this is proof of his position as the bona fide representative of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada. That is the proof. This is not a concoction. This is a reality. And this Hare Krishna Society, which was started in 2002, is continuing that effort to spread the legacy of Srila Prabhupada as the bona fide Acharya in the disciplic succession, not someone else. That is a big mistake. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, if you could further comment.
As far as people making statements that people should not leave ISKCON, first let's understand what is KCON. We know what the IS was supposed to be, the International Society. What is KCON? How does Prabhupada define Krishna consciousness? For example, after Srila Prabhupada departed, there were some leaders in that society. They started to introduce new gimmick Samkirtan or scam kirtan. because the idea was if they could get a higher profit margin or make more money by selling baseball caps, bumper stickers, Korean oil paintings, rock and roll records, and so many gimmicks, they would be happy and make more money. But this was not Srila Prabhupada's instruction for his society. This had nothing to do with the instruction of Srila Prabhupada, the founder of ISKCON, for how to conduct preaching activities for his society. And this went on for many years at great detriment for the reputation of the society. Now, it probably filled some people's pockets for some time, but this was not Prabhupada's instruction. I confronted one of the leaders in the society in 1981 in Buffalo, New York. Why are you distributing rock and roll records? What is this idea? He said, oh, we're using the money for Krishna. I said, no, Prabhupada did not want that. In 1974, Prabhupada protested when some disciple in Germany were distributing his records. He says, do not distribute records. Distribute my books. They will understand the philosophy that way. He says, oh, you don't know what's going on. We're making so many new devotees. And I told him at the time, I understand that almost 80 to 85% of Prabhupada's original disciples were no longer active in Srila Prabhupada's society. His reply was, oh, you don't know what's going on. We're making so many new devotees. Is this a factory shift? You bring a shift in and a shift out? What is this? Of course, he had no reply and he walked off. So ISKCON means to follow the instruction of the Acharya. And the first instruction is don't change the teachings, don't change his books. Follow the instruction of the Acharya. This is the most important fundamental point of being part of ISKCON. Being part of ISKCON has nothing to do with the physical being inside of an ISKCON temple. You can be in ISKCON in your living room. As a matter of fact, many people who are in ISKCON buildings do not follow the instruction of the KCON as given by Srila Prabhupada. Kicking devotees out of the temple, molesting children, changing the books, having all kinds of bogus Sahaja Kirtans, that's not ISKCON. That's FishCon. That's false ISKCON. Chaya ISKCON. This is a shadow reflection of the real ISKCON. We'll leave it at that for now. I understand our good friend Neil Sharma Prabhu has got his hands up.
Well, we're going to call on Dharma Bhavana to come forward first, and then we'll have Nilesh. He has some interesting announcements too about his vision of helping us to, expand our sort of broadcasts globally, which are expanding. We have over 100,000 views, everyone, of our programs on the YouTube. And remember, you can go to that YouTube channel to hear the entire shows, and if you come later, whatever. Dharma Bhavana in Dallas, Texas, Prabhu.
Oh, thank you, Hare Krishna. Yeah, I've just made a few notes. My wife is saying I was one of those people selling the oil paintings. But anyway, a long time ago. But anyway, I just wanted to help devotees appreciate that the Zoom reading and discussions that we're having, we should not take it for granted. It's really a great and wonderful thing that Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, Vishwakarma Prabhu are organizing this, making the whole program very steady. And this is a kind of devotee association that's so important. And just reflecting also on Lord Krishna, he has this program to help all the conditioned souls. He really is favorable towards the conditioned souls coming back to Godhead. I said avatars, Shaktivesh avatars, the Vedas. And he says in Bhagavad-gītā, those devotees who help him in this mission are very dear to him. So somebody, all those everyone who's even attending class today is helping in this mission to revitalize Srila Prabhupada's movement, his mission. So it is quite a glorious thing to be taking part in this really difficult situation. We may become discouraged, but Lord Chaitanya, he has this wonderful, intelligent way to make the whole thing come out in the most beautiful way. And we don't understand how, but if we take part, it'll be to our benefit. Just a small comment. Thank you.
Yes, well, thank you. And we are dovetailing the use of technology, because it is Sankirtan it's a propagation of Sankirtan, teaching people what the process of devotional service is and how to practice it properly, not be misdirected or misrepresented. We are moving ahead to encourage people to be Prabhupada followers like we did, and we still are. And not only that, become Prabhupada disciples. And we're going to, in the next week, we're going to go over the sort of qualifications for initiation, moving away from the platform of follower to committed disciple, like we used to in the 70s, instead of making disciples for these bogus gurus. Nila Shama, you have your hand up, and maybe you can mention about the program, etc.
Hare Krishna, Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Yep.
What I like to do is first stay with the topic and try to ask questions. I have questions both for Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu and yourself, but I'll go one question at a time on the request of Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu.
Thank you.
Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, as we read today in the shloka, where Prabhupada explains in the purport that the two-handed form is more rare than the universal form, and that there are what you call people who concoct and think that no, the universal form is more rare than the spiritual form, than the two-handed form. So then my question to you is, if you look at it just to play the devil's advocate, is that Krishna was already seeing, Arjuna was already seeing Krishna's two-handed form. Duryodhana was seeing Krishna's two-handed form. Dushashan was seeing Krishna's two-handed form. It is only the universal form which required the Divya Drishti, the divine vision. And Prabhupada in the purport says, no, the two-handed form is more rare than the universal form. Could you explain as to why the Divya Drishti was needed or required to see the universal form, while the Krishna's two-handed form everybody was seeing in Kurukshetra and in Vrindavan and in Dwaraka?
Well, Srila Prabhupada in one lecture commented that when Krishna was present, not everybody understood him as the personality of Godhead. Very few people understood Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, as far as the universal form, the point is this was a specific form shown to Arjuna to show him how the battle of Kurukshetra had already been decided. That battle, the conclusion had already been done. We've read in the 11th chapter of the Bhagavad-gītā how Prabhupada comments in one purports that Arjuna saw all these great fighters like Bhishma, Drona, Kṛṣṇa, all entering into the universal form. They were being killed because of their participation in the disrobing in a great blasphemy against Draupadi. So now this universal form has a specific function at a specific time. That form is not in Goloka Vrindavan or in Vaikuntha. It's only shown here. But the two-handed form of Krishna is very rare. Not everybody. I mean, if you look at these purports, Prabhupada is talking how the Mayavadis do not understand the nature of Krishna's form. They don't, because they have the wrong understanding. They're not hearing from realized acharyas, therefore they have misconceptions. There's so many different levels of misconceptions, both about the universal form and the form of Krishna from various atheists, philosophers, Mayavadis, speculators. But Vaishnavas, the bona fide Vaishnavacharyas, they have the correct understanding. That's why in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu discovered the Brahma Samhita, there's a verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that there's no higher scripture than the Brahma Samhita. All the conclusions are given in the Brahma Samhita. And how does Lord Brahma explain? Angani yasya sakalendriya vritti. There's so many beautiful descriptions of that form, that dvibhuja, that Saumya Rupa, that beautiful form of Krishna. This is a very special form. And unless one hears in bona fide disciplic succession, one will be confused, just like we've discussed before, that many people think that the demigods and Krishna, this is all the same. Ganesh, Durga, Kali, Shiva, then Krishna, it's all the same. No, it's not the same. Krishna clearly says in the Bhagavad-gītā, Mata Parataram Nadya, there's no higher person than me. I am the highest personality. But in order to understand this, unless one hears commentary in bona fide disciplic succession, one will not be able to understand. Interestingly, somebody this week asked me about these red books about the picture of Radha Krishna. This is a series of books that was given to me by Mahamsa Swami in 1976 after the opening of the Radha Madan Mohan temple at Janamastami in Hyderabad, India. It's a translation of commentaries of Madhva, Ramanuja, and Shankaracharya on the first 6 chapters of the Bhagavad-gītā. It's an English translation, which was very rare. It's out of print. So it's very interesting. There's a lot of very interesting revelations. But Prabhupada has given the essence of all of this. We see that Prabhupada explains in his books how Shankaracharya, the leader of all the impersonalists, he has accepted Krishna, Narayana Paravyaktat, that Lord Narayana, Krishna, is beyond this material manifestation. Yes, Neil Shyama Prabhu, you have another question?
Yes, Prabhuji. You talk about submissive hearing. Prabhupada uses this word submissive hearing very much. Now, can you clarify what is really submissive hearing? Because this submissive hearing can also be taught in the ISKCON context, is that you just listen, do not question. This is submissive hearing. Is this submissive hearing? And what is really submissive hearing? If you can clarify that.
What you're describing here is what I call parampara problem. When you feed a baby, you don't feed him solid food. You can't feed a baby puris and parotas and sabji. He will not be able to digest that. So you give him problem, which is very easy to digest. So their idea is, we're going to tell you what it is, and you should just accept. Don't challenge, don't question. And if you question, you're a bad boy. We're going to beat you. We're going to ban you. We're going to sue you. We're going to excommunicate you. This is not philosophy. This is Gunda. This is Jim Jones in Guyana cult philosophy. This is nonsense, basically. Submissive hearing means hearing properly from the mouth of a pure devotee by following the instruction of the pure devotee, by surrendering to the pure devotee. That's submissive hearing. One cannot hear from a pure devotee with a challenging spirit. That will not work. That's very important because some people don't get it. They try to challenge or mental speculation. When I first came to the temple in Montreal in '69, one devotee named Sripati explained to me that following these principles, the principle of no gambling implies no mental speculation. There's also a lecture where Prabhupada explains a devotee should not engage in mental speculation. That is against the principles. So that what we have nowadays in so many different interpretations based upon mental speculation, that is not submissive hearing. One should not have a challenging spirit or ask foolish questions or absurd questions. That is very important. And this idea that you have described, that people should just accept and follow whatever they hear. Yeah, well, that's nice, but the reality, that doesn't work. They've tried it. That doesn't work. You will attract a class of sycophants, parasites, and less intelligent sahajas. There has to be intelligent hearing and discussion from all angles of vision. This was Prabhupada's instruction. Instead, what we had is this mentality, oh, we have decided everything. They should not question. They should just accept. What is this nonsense? That's why I say ISKCON is like the cult in Guyana by Jim Jones. No questions asked, just follow. That's why they don't want to discuss their history. Because the minute you start discussing their history and ask relevant questions, they cannot answer. The game is over. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Krishna
Krishna.
Karma has plenty of experience with this.
Hare
Just one
Krishna.
second, I'll let you ask the question you had for me, but I wanted to further mention submissive, Prabhu, means that you're eager to learn. You're not there to reinterpret what the professor is saying. It's just like at the college. If you're teaching at the college, you want the students to hear what you're saying. They have to be eager to learn from the professor what is the right methodology for practicing the medical field that you're in. Submissive. You don't go to the college and try to learn and then say, oh, by the way, I don't think you're right there. I think you're wrong with this. You may know, but they're saying you don't know, I do. So this type of eagerness to hear, you have to be enthusiastic to learn. And for us, the transcendental messages of Krishna consciousness coming from Srila Prabhupada are a great opportunity for us to understand. We have to understand this philosophy. And you cannot understand it unless you accept the spiritual master as a bona fide representative from the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. So these particular people that are in the ISKCON group and they say submissive, that means submit, do what I say. Not what I do, do what I say. These people are misleading people, unfortunately, and twisting words. Like Kirtanananda was very expert at that, Nilesh. He would twist words, distort words, manipulate the philosophy for his own personal purpose. So it went on for years and years. It was just absolutely depressing.
So,
Prabhu,
so the
go ahead,
question to
please.
you, Prabhuji, is you made a
Yeah.
statement while you were reading Prabhupada's diaries, where Paul was denied his passage to India.
Yes.
And you're saying it was a blessing. There are two ways you can look at this. Is that Prabhupada is willing to take us back home, back to Godhead, no matter what our background is. We may be more fallen than even Paul, but he was ready to take us back home, back to Godhead. It is a different story that Krishna did not allow this to happen. Remember, is that Krishna, through the medium of Sumati Morarji, through the medium of this person, denied his passage for whatever prarabdha, whatever the past reactions may have been of Paul. It is Paul's misfortune, but Prabhupada is ready to take any one of us, irrespective of background, provided we follow his instructions. That was a very kind of interesting point which you brought about. And then the last one which I want to talk is, why were they selling baseball caps? Why were they selling all these other paraphernalia? Because they were spiritually bankrupt. They could not be spiritually strong enough for them to continue on the footsteps of Srila Prabhupada. Though they took the position of Srila Prabhupada, they were spiritually bankrupt, and so they had to create some other modes of income. Right now, even as you talk, Vishwakarma Prabhu, about different books being brought about by different gurus, because they are spiritually bankrupt, is because they cannot come up with any spiritually potent books which can outsell it. That is why ISKCON has also started printing the 1972 Macmillan edition. Why? Because the demand is there. Why? Because there is money in it. So eventually, all these books will disappear in time, because time, aham kala. Krishna says, I am kala, I am time, and I will come and destroy all these nonsense. The only thing which will survive is this imperishable knowledge, which Krishna says in the Bhagavad-gītā. The imperishable knowledge will continue on. So if we were to stick to the original diktats of Srila Prabhupada, we are associating ourselves with this imperishable science. And lastly, I would just like to say one thing, is whenever I see the video of Vijay Pandit Prabhu, And I see him in the video that he is talking to his colleagues. I'm sure he's interpreting to his colleagues. And I always felt that, Vijay Pandit Prabhu also may be missing out on certain points. Maybe he wants to ask questions. Maybe his friends want to ask questions. So next Saturday, we have arranged a trial where we are going to use an artificial intelligence platform, which will in real time translate into 60 different languages, 60 plus languages, main languages of the world. And even there are many languages, Indian languages also, Hindi, Marathi, Gujarati. Rupesh Prabhu, if you know that even Marathi is available. I want us to try to get as many people as possible. Please make sure that if there are more people, they can come with their smartphones. There will be a QR code which will be displayed where you can scan the QR code with your phone. And on your phone, you can choose whichever language you want. Carry your earpiece with you. So if you carry your earpiece with you, you can listen to the lecture, what Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu has to say, what Vishwakarma Prabhu has to say, because this is the original, translations. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu always gives us these quotes from Srila Prabhupada, which you can cross-reference, cross-check. So that is the evidence over there itself. So you can hear it. Everybody can have that. If they have questions, they can ask the questions even in the language which they prefer. And we, on this side, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu and Vishwakarma Prabhu can see it in English subtitles, and we will try to make it as interactive as possible. Let us use this new artificial intelligence as Nirbandhe Krishna Sambandhe. As Prabhupada says, let us use everything in Krishna's service because everything comes from Krishna. And let us become dear to Srila Prabhupada and to Krishna in this process. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. And I wanted to comment to all of you, just see how astute a person can be when they're analyzing words, like Nilesh Sharma. There's been a lot spoken this morning. We're already going on an hour and 45 minutes. And I made one statement about this situation with Paul Murray. And see how he pinpointed it, just one sentence, which is, very interesting for me to hear that. It's true. Because I did make a comment in a sense that I was understanding how because we know what the future was, Nilesh, that this Paul Murray eventually threatened Prabhupada, and Prabhupada had to leave the Bowery for fear of his life. So we know what the story is. And based on that, I made the comment that it was a blessing. I'm not saying that I know what Krishna is or how Krishna acts necessarily, or how this plot unfolded completely. But the most important part is how you observe the comment, which I loved. It's not I know it's not a criticism. It was an observation. And so like that, words are very important. And words that are distorted or change the philosophy can change the destiny of a movement, like the ISKCON movement, just like the Gaudiya Math movement. When you change the philosophy of the bona fide spiritual master without authority, then everything is ruined. And that's what's happened. But thank you again for that observation. It was beautiful. I loved it. And we're going to move forward. I thought we had Paranjana Prabhu with us, but it appears he's disappeared. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, if you could finalize the last comments for us.
Well, the reason I keep making this point about what is the KCON, because this is based on Srila Prabhupada. From practical observation, Prabhupada many times would speak to all different kinds of people, journalists, parents, philosophers, businessmen, politicians, all kinds of people. And I've seen him so many times, Prabhupada would say, just try to understand. And he would repeat this, just try to understand. He was trying to tell people, just hear submissively and try to get what I'm trying to tell you. From beginning of his mission in 1965 in New York till the 14th of November, 1977 in Vrindavan, he was constantly preaching, constantly telling people, try to understand the message. Because what happened in 1976, one disciple sent a letter to Prabhupada, and he says, I want to get your blessing so I can find a real guru. And Prabhupada banished him from ISKCON because he was preaching the philosophy that our disciplic succession, as given in Bhagavad-gītā, is defective because it didn't have every living guru. That's the Diksha guru of everyone mentioned there. And Prabhupada said he has become poisoned because he started to associate with some Radhakund Babajis, with some caste Goswamis, and he got into trouble. And Prabhupada gave a lecture, and I remember this lecture. I believe Vishwakarma Prabhu dealt with this in another class. He gave this lecture, even if somebody thinks they know more than the guru or become more learned, and Prabhupada laughed. He says, of course, that's not possible. But even if one thinks like that, what one should do is try to understand one verse perfectly, one line of one verse perfectly, and that will be the perfection of life. Now, this is a very important point because by submissive hearing, one will get the blessings and the mercy of the Acharya. Not trying to change Prabhupada's instruction, not trying to interpret or give some clever interpretation of what he says. No, simply hear submissively and follow nicely. That will be very important. Very, very important. And we see that anybody who follows that instruction of Srila Prabhupada, regardless of whether they physically met him or not, they will get success. Today I saw somebody on Facebook making a comment, oh, you did not understand that Prabhupada said, the Hari Bhaktivedanta said that one should test the guru for 6 months before initiation. So there has to be a physical. And I was thinking, well, during Prabhupada's presence, only a few people in 1966 got to do that. Hardly anybody. Most of the testing was done by representative in his temple, by the instruction of the Acharya through representative. So one cannot interpret statements that were made 500 years ago in Hari Bhaktivedanta according to his own mental concoction. One has to hear from the Acharya submissively, then it will be success. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Excellent. And thank you, everyone, for participating again today. In our weekly Bhagavad Gītā readings on Saturday, we have 3 classes a week, Thursdays now. I have to remind myself. And Saturday and Sunday. And we're covering all the different main books that Srila Prabhupada translated for our benefit. And through these discussions, our real intention is to all join together and serve Srila Prabhupada as the bona fide spiritual master. That's it. We're not after anyone. We're only after the truth of the matter, the absolute truth. And this methodology we hope to explain in these classes in association with all of you. Guru Shastra Sadhu. So thank you again. We'll be back again tomorrow for Srimad Bhagavatam reading and discussion, and further discussions with all of us on this platform of the Zoom technology. And thank you, Nilesh, for looking into these new innovations for helping other people globally to be part of this explanation of the truth without any adulteration. Yes, Prabhu. Nilesh, you got your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. I know there's going to be a lot of questions about this new thing. You don't need to download anything. Remember, you just need 2 things. You need a personal device. The best thing is have your cell phone and a headphone. Just have any headphones, wired Bluetooth, whatever, doesn't matter, as long as it is connected to your cell phone.
Oh,
I will, at the beginning of the class, I will release a QR code,
okay.
a QR which you just have to scan with your phone, and that QR code will take you to the website. You choose the language which you want to hear in, so you can read it at the same time hear it. So if you want to hear it, like how you're doing Vijay Prabhu right now, while you're translating for your wife, you don't need to do that. She will hear it through her phone, the language which she prefers, whatever it may be, Italian, French, German, whatever it may be. So once you do that, that is fine. Give me 1 second, Vijay Prabhu. Then, or if you're on the computer, I will give you a link where you can copy paste it onto your browser, your web browser. And on that web browser, you will have it. So you will have it all written down, whether Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu is speaking, Vishwakarma Prabhu is speaking, and that transcript will be available for you to save on your computer or on your phone. And if you and your wife want to discuss a certain point, you can say, yes, this is what you can do, this is what you can do, and this is what he said. So you can do that also. And if she has a question, she can use your Zoom audio to ask the question, and Vishwakarma Prabhu here or Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu here will see it in subtitles in English, because their preferred language will be English, the speaker language will be English, and the question will be translated to them in English, and they will speak, and your wife or whoever your friends are can hear it simultaneously. Go ahead, Prabhuji.
Yes, I
Vijay,
understand
you
very
have a
good.
qu-
I understand very
Yeah.
good. But when I have more people here to listen the lecture, can all the people be connected with a earphone on one computer, or everybody has to be connected on its own smartphone?
If you want to if you all have one common language, say suppose Italian, you can choose the Italian one, and it can be the audio will come to you through your audio of your computer. But if one person chooses another language, one person chooses another
Multiply,
language,
multiply, multiply, because maybe we have 5, 6 in
yeah,
Italian
they can all
language.
have their own phones. Yeah, they can all have their own phones and their own headphones, so they don't disturb others. So they can all have their own phones, their own headphones. We can accommodate up to 500 people at the same time.
Go
So
ahead,
let
Vijay
us
Pandit.
let
Go
us
ahead.
broadcast this. Yeah, let us broadcast this to as many people as possible. Whether you're in Japan, it'll be in Japanese. In India, we can do it in Hindi, Marathi. So let us try to use this platform, and then I would want your feedback, Vijay Prabhu, as to how it goes, how accurate it was, how convenient it was, because these are expensive platforms right now. They're almost charging us like $1 a minute. So we need to be more efficient with our time too over here, and try to do that. But that is secondary. What is important is this platform worth it? So everybody's viewpoint, I want to encourage people from all over the world. And it seems like Saturday is a good day where we get the maximum attendance and the time wise, so that both from Europe, from Asia, everybody can kind of attend. So let us try to reach out to as many people, and then your feedback will be very important.
Any more clarification, Vijay Pandit?
Yes. Maybe the clarification is to have the connection to 5, 6 earphones from one source only. Is it
No,
possible?
each one will have a separate source.
Okay.
Each one will have a separate source. So if you're
Everybody have to
connecting
be
with your
connected.
headphones, yeah,
Okay.
if you're
On,
having headphones,
on the
then you have
mobile.
to have your own device. Yes,
Okay. Very
yes.
good.
But if you're listening from the same computer, then whatever the computer you choose the language, that is the language which everybody will listen.
Okay, excellent. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. We're going to end up, it's already 11:51 here in Hamilton, Canada. We're going on over a bit of the timetable these days. We're taking a different approach to discussion and reading and explanation. And see, people seem to enjoy it much. We still keep a lot of people into the loop. I know we all have schedules that we have to follow, and we'll try to do that. And if you have to drop out, that's okay. You know, you can always look at the balance of the program on YouTube, Hare Krishna Society YouTube. which is running 24 hours a day. You go anytime you want and listen to the discussions and readings for your own education of these matters. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Let's move forward with the kirtan for 2.5 minutes. That's all. Chant along with Srila Prabhupada. And then we'll do our closing section of the readings and discussions. Haribol.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Let us offer our respectful obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitanam pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances. We all offer our respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and we're full of compassion for the fallen souls. Thanks everybody for participating in the program and you're patiently hearing for the last 2 hours practically. Thanks Vishwakarma Prabhu in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, Rupesh Prabhu in Bombay, India, Maharashtra, India, Rochita Devi Dasi in Montreal, Canada, and our good friend Vijay Pandit in Douaeville, Italy, near Venice, and not to mention Neil Shama Prabhu in Florida, and everybody who has come to the program. We love those discussions, and we hope that people are benefiting from this. And again, the point is always to emphasize Srila Prabhupada, our connection with him in submissive hearing from the pure devotee Acharya. Hare Krishna. We invite everybody to come tomorrow morning for Srimad Bhagavatam reading and discussion at 7 o'clock a.m. Pacific Standard Time, corresponding to 10 a.m. Hamilton, Ontario, and 10 a.m. Florida. And we'll have another lively discussion and reading from the famous Srimad Bhagavatam. Thanks, everybody, for participating. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,